Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching. This is News Done Differently. It is the 23rd day of March, 2022. And again, thank you for watching. I do ask if you're watching on Twitter, um, please share. If you're watching on YouTube, please share. And if you're watching on Facebook, please share. We will be coming to a couple other platforms soon, but enough about that. So much news to get to tonight. Let's get started. And we're going to start out by checking on our flight tracker. And we're starting out on the flight tracker. We've got an unknown 1167 Russian Air Force plane with no call sign, no destination, and at the moment, heading east. So just to let you know, there'll be a lot of people monitoring that, I'm sure. About 1,200 at the moment. So something I'll keep an eye on after we finish up here tonight. Again, thank you for watching. If you're just joining us, and also thanks to our moderators in chat on YouTube, Sissy and Casey and Carpe Diem, if she happens to be in there. Thank you to all of you watching. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to chat. If there aren't any monitors in there, monitor yourself and just somebody says something, block them, and you won't have to hear from them anymore. So let's get to the news. In watching the Senate hearings today, confirmation hearings, I sent a text to one of my friends in Washington, D.C., and asked, what do you think of what's going on? This is a Republican friend who has worked in a White House before. He said the Senate Republicans might be the most unserious assembly of ass clowns I've ever seen, and I've been in the same room with Donald Trump and his kids. This is embarrassing. So we're going to talk a little more as the night unfolds about that, but that is going to be at the forefront of a lot of conversations. I don't know personally, as far as hanging out with people on the ground. I've developed connections over the past 4 weeks with people, and this lovely young redhead in the picture was one of them. Oksana Bolina was I think I only used like 2 things of hers, but still, you message back and forth, glad you're safe, even if I'm not using the stuff. And what they do, what the Russians have been seen doing is what's called double tapping. They'll launch artillery and they'll wait until first responders or journalists show up to report on what's going on. Then they'll launch a second barrage of artillery. And she was killed this afternoon along with one other civilian, and 2 were injured. Again, it's not somebody that I know personally, but it's somebody had a connection with, and it's just, it makes it all the more real what's going on there, and who's responsible for what's going on there. Now, as far as making it stop, that's a different story, and again, something we're going to dive into. Sorry about that. I just got a little verklempt there thinking about, she's like my youngest daughter's age anyway. Okay. I don't have a monitor. For those that are just watching, this is news done differently. And my other laptop broke down. I don't have a monitor at the moment, so I got to be really conscious that I'm showing what I'm actually talking about because I get going. And if you're watching for the first time, there no frills in here, okay? You're used to watching news with fancy people, beautiful people like Aaron Burnett, who were about to share an interview she did with the former oligarch, Russia's richest man at one time, and good friend of Putin all the way up until Putin put him in jail for 10 years. So I don't cut up stories. I don't tell you what I think you want to hear. I bring the truth, and sometimes the truth is ugly. The truth doesn't make you any money. It doesn't get you followers. It doesn't make you popular, but it's necessary. And just
Mikhail, thank you so
an
much
important
for
interview.
being with me. 1 month into Putin's invasion, American officials say that the Russian military doesn't have enough food, it doesn't have enough fuel, they have all kinds of logistical problems. Soldiers don't even have gloves, they're suffering from frostbite. Did you ever imagine this situation?
Truly, I'm not surprised. But on the other hand, I will have to say that the level of their unpreparedness has come as a great surprise to me. In fact, I will say, in the words of the Ukrainians, is that they're heavily helped by their corruption.
Western officials, they say Putin is frustrated, obviously, by the stall of his military and that he has been lashing out. I know, Mikhail, you have spoken about Putin displaying what you called signs of senile paranoia, but you didn't think he was, crazy in any traditional sense. How dangerous is he right now?
Putin достаточно опасен. Well, we have to understand that Putin is sufficiently dangerous, and yet he's not suicidal. He can use mass destruction weapons, but only...
I'm going to pause this for just a second. I just noticed something that I want to point out right here. These two men, they are the General Chief of Staff and the Commanding General of the military. These three men right here are responsible. They alone, these three people, make a decision whether to deploy nuclear weapons. These two people down here have not been seen publicly since March the 12th. March the 12th for this general, March the 11th for this general. This general, it is said that he has a heart problem. Rumors are circulating around Russian journalists that are leaking stuff over that he could possibly have resigned and is under house arrest. I just wanted to point that out. I'll talk a little bit more about it coming up.
And yet he's not suicidal. He can use mass destruction weapons, but only if he knows that he'll go unpunished.
When you mentioned President Biden, he has talked about the threats. He doesn't want World War III. He says it's a real threat. Putin could use chemical weapons in Ukraine. Obviously, there are fears of what he could do with the nuclear arsenal. So far, obviously, he has not even used tactical nuclear weapons, but there are these fears out there. Do you think that they're real fears? Because they are what's holding NATO and the West back.
Я думаю, что западные лидеры повторяют.
Well, I believe that actually what we are seeing now is that Western leaders are repeating the same mistake that their predecessors committed years ago with Hitler, when Hitler was very vulnerable back then, when he tried to invade Europe. And that's what his accomplices did admit during the Nuremberg tribunal. However, what we know is that Western leaders kept saying that they were afraid to aggravate Hitler, and they thought, well, if we are not showing any resistance, then eventually he'll stop. However, that mistake has cost hundreds of millions human lives. Hundreds of millions human lives were lost, and the same mistake is being committed now. Putin will never use nuclear weapons unless he knows he's in safety. And once he's been convinced that yes, you're safe, then obviously that just triggers him towards that.
Again,
Yeah.
again, really good interview from Aaron Burnett, CNN. I talk a lot about mainstream media, and they don't tell us everything. They don't, they decide what knowledge we get, and at the same time, when they do something that is worth noting, we have to do the right thing and note it. And some things he said there. Putin would only use weapons of mass destruction if he knew he wouldn't be punished for them. If he knew that he would be safe. And I want to see if I can find something here real quick, just to hang with me for just a second, if you would. I know I've got this, and it's just a meme, but it says an awful lot. Got a lot of things to go through tonight. I was hoping that. Sorry, I was smoking a cigar earlier, and I thought I'd put it out. Suddenly, it came back to life. I was hoping I'd be able to get into chat tonight, and answer some questions. I'm going to try to run through things as quick as possible and do that, but I'm not going to have as much time as I anticipated. Here's the meme. It shows Zelensky digging, and it shows Putin's underground city that he has built, and it's supposedly under a mountain in the Ural mountain range. But this is, it's showing the various leaders of NATO standing around as Zelensky does the work, and that's how Putin is going to look at things. If he is in that bunker and he is secure, he may be the only one making the decisions. Okay, as far as what happens in the bunker, or what happens as far as nuclear weapons once he's in the bunker, because the guy that's knows him very well. He said if he wouldn't face punishment, and as long as he knew he was safe. So it's just things to be aware of, as are a lot of things tonight. The U.S. makes contingency plans in case Russia uses its most powerful weapons. Team of national security officials has been assigned to sketch out responses if Putin unleashes chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons. And We're not part of those plans, okay? Just a stark reminder of what reality is. We're not part of those plans. That should give us something to think about as we are going to be the next few weeks pitted against one another in various ways, such as we saw with the Supreme Court nomination. Okay. We're back at Flight Radar, obviously, and we are looking at this plane right here. It's a Russian Air Force IL-76, and it was tracking east, which I was okay with. It's starting to go a little north, so we're going to pop back in on that here throughout the evening. I got to turn down just a little bit, obviously. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, make sure I'm on the right spot. Yes. This is in the Donbass region, and they're trying to hold back this community with a limited number of troops because they're trying to send their good troops to the front lines where the actual fighting is. That they're bringing in lesser trained troops to kind of do suppression, kind of keep crowds under control, control the cities that they've taken, and then move the actual fighters onto the front lines. And this might be something that we see. This may be something that we witness. This may be an example of how those of us that want a free, peaceful, loving, equal world, this may be the first of an example of the power of standing up to evil.
Ты совсем перепуганный или что? Да успокойся! Да успокойся, что ты делаешь? Успокойся, друже! Друже, тут народні депутати, журналісти, будь ласка, опусти! Народ, дайте йому, що ви робите? Та успокойся, ти опусти оружие! Та успокойся, ти дебіл! Що ти робиш, блін? Що ти робиш? Слава Україні! Слава! Героям слава!
Okay, I don't know a whole lot of Russian and Ukraine, but we can pick out glory to Ukraine and glory to the heroes, which is those fighting against the Russians. And this video, the first shots overhead, we're used to seeing different things, and in a protest, first shot overhead would scatter everyone, because this is something beyond the scale that we have seen here in our country since the 1960s. Now, what happened and what has happened and continues to happen currently is bad. Don't get me wrong, but watch what we're seeing here.
старший. Ви старший. Ви старший. Давайте спокійно. Хай прибере. Хай прибере. Тут журналісти, депутати. Якби ви отак стріляли, не позорте.
Not only do they not disperse, not only do they not back down, they walk them back. They walk them back. They pushed them back, and eventually they left. The Russians left. Now, do I think maybe they should have planned ahead and had a few armed people right back here as the Russians backed out? Just something to think about. But the power, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong, but that is that's a powerful video. We're going to hop back over here, and I might end this a little short to get back to open source intelligence, to see if we've got some idea of what might be going on here. But before we do, I got a few other things here I got to share real quick. 1 month ago today, a webcam in Crimea reveals that Russia's invasion began 30 minutes before Putin's announcement. So they jumped the gun to the surprise of no one. Come on. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Hang with me here. Okay. I mentioned, actually, I'm going to put you on flight radar here for a minute. Okay, we got black lines here. They have probably turned off their transponder, and we're just tracking by radar signature at the moment. So the black lines are the anticipated flight plan, just to kind of let you know what's up. While I want to share with you the what we know about the Tiger. Okay, what we know about the Tiger group that is planning for what may be coming. And I just deleted it. Okay, here we go. All right. The Tiger team is making up contingency plans in case Russia uses its most powerful weapons. The Tiger team, as the group is known, is also examining responses if Mr. Putin reaches into NATO territory to attack convoys bringing weapons and aid to Ukraine, according to several officials involved in the process. They've been meeting 3 times a week in classified sessions. Team is also looking at responses if Russia seeks to extend the war to neighboring nations, including Moldova and Georgia, and on how to proceed if that were to happen. And how to prepare European countries for the refugees flowing in, as if indeed the theater of war expands. The refugee flow will be on a scale not seen since World War II. Okay. So, got some breaking news. This is from the New York Times. One of the senior Manhattan prosecutors who investigated Donald Trump believes that the former president was, quote, guilty of numerous felony violations. So, wow. We talked about Paul Manafort earlier in the afternoon episode. I'm going to catch you up on that in a moment here. I'm trying to see if I can get anything on this Russian flight. So kind of hang with me here, and I'll get us back on the stories if I'm not able to find anything, and I haven't been yet. I mentioned Paul Manafort, and in connection with Trump and with the Paul Manafort was Trump's campaign manager. He's a close associate with Roger Stone. Roger Stone, I don't know why he would do it, but he filmed a documentary of himself planning the January 6th overthrow of the government, or his part. He wasn't the mastermind, I don't think. He might have been. But anyway, Trump is now facing not only civil problems, for debts and for numerous things. He's also facing serious charges on the federal and on the state levels. And one of his cronies tried to get out of town today. Officials with Miami-Dade confirmed that Manafort was denied travel by the Customs and Bureau Protection at the Miami International Airport. Police said he could not take the flight and a U.S. passport was revoked. So he was trying to fly from Miami, again, Mar-a-Lago, little Marco Rubio, Stone is down there as well. And don't be surprised if Trump takes off to avoid prosecution. And don't be surprised if he might end up in Russia. And as far as the connection between Q and Russia, and the fact that Q is a cover for pedophiles and child predators, I'm even more convinced of that. As every day goes by, I'm more convinced of that being true. And I'm not just, it's not just bravado. It's not just making things up. It's come from connecting some dots, and more dots are being connected. And I also want to thank everybody that's viewing, okay, no matter where you're viewing at. And I want to thank those with Anonymous. We have an anonymous story at least once a night. And I want to thank you with Anonymous. A lot of people, let's just say a lot more people watch the show, and the views may not be counted because you don't see them watching, and it gets spread around. And thank you for doing that. It's not about the money. I have to try to make a living, and but I don't need much to make a living. It's about the truth. And so let's start with some truth here that you're probably not going to hear about on mainstream media. By the way, the members of NATO are gathered in Brussels. I got Air Force One taking off. I've got communications between Air Force One and the ground. I've got radar of how tightly Air Force One was guarded, and we'll get to all of that. But the people that living in the NATO countries were polled, and they were asked, their confidence in the United States, and they said the confidence in the United States has grown greatly. Let me get the actual. Confidence in U.S. global leadership during President Joe Biden's first year in office is sharply higher than during the last year of Trump's presidency, and that's according to a Gallup poll. Again, I want to mention the Tiger Team thing and not freak anybody out, because it's normal to prepare for situations, and it would be totally expected that I don't know what's the matter here. I can't remove tweets. Okay. All right. I'm trying to get things put together here in such a manner as it's going to flow a little smoother and hopefully not take as much time. Okay. So something went wrong and it's not my fault. Well, that's good to know. So look for the New York Times. Look for the New York Times article coming out and probably referenced on mainstream media that one of the investigators believed, and the investigator resigned, but he believed without a doubt Trump was guilty of multiple felonies. I got a little something here for those of you that are military oriented, and this is a dual Maxim with a red dot, which I think is from how it was presented to me. It is a it's a brand new thing. Okay, let's try this. So if you know your guns, okay. I'm going to put you on Flight Tracker for just a second here, because it's, and again, this is the plane we're watching, and I'm not sure what it was doing. I'm not sure it was adjusting to let's see how high this thing's flying. Oh, well, we timed out. I'm glad I was here for that instead of just leaving you timed out. Forte should be down here. Okay, Forte is not. Forte has gone dark. Okay. All right, Forte has gone dark. What is this? Okay, that's the Russian plane. 76116. It had no call letters before. All right. I'm gonna let you keep the flight path up there. Let you keep monitoring that for a second, and I'm gonna try to see if I can get Twitter to cooperate with me for the remainder of the program here. No, I'm not going to get it to. Well, that's all right. The couple of stories to read here. This is from Anonymous. As I said, we're going to have at least one anonymous story. And Anonymous is a group that works for good. They work for peace, and they have been, I would say, highly valuable in keeping the United States safe by keeping Russia so busy trying to defend that Russia hasn't really been able to go on the offense like they would like to. We've been warned about it happening, and it could still happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't. But at the same time, we've got to recognize that the work Anonymous is doing within the next 2 days, more than 35,000 files are going to be released from the Central Bank of Russia. So we will look for that. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what I'm just going to do. Leave you on flight tracker for just a few seconds here still. And I'm going to reopen Twitter to what I call my news feed. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, good. Give me just a couple of seconds here, and things will roll smoothly. Well, smoother. Gosh, I've still got a lot to get to. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. We talked a little bit about the Senate confirmation hearing of Judge, and I said numerous times on this, I've said they accuse you of what they themselves are doing. If you watched, you noticed a lot of the white senators were talking about their concern about child pornography. Lindsey Graham was obsessed with child pornography, and they accuse what they themselves are guilty of. This is Josh Duggar, well-known child pornographer. And he's with Cotton there, good friends. Gosh, a lot to get through. I want to get down to this one other picture right here of Josh Duggar with Ted Cruz, and they're good friends. Now, on the surface, that doesn't mean anything. But we're not done yet. We got a couple other dots here that we need to quickly connect. And this former Trump GOP aide charged with distributing child porn. Republican senators hired this child pornographer. Guess which two hired him? Cruz and Cotton. Yeah, no, I can't make this stuff up. You know, it's in the Daily Beast. So, what kind of history does the QAnon, the Trump movement, the Republican Party, a faction of the Republican Party, okay? Not condemning all Republicans. Not all Republicans even know about this, probably. Although most in Washington do know about it and they've been quiet. And if they come out, they're not heroes because they've kept it silent. Just like the guy that come out, Mo, whatever his name was, the congressman that came out today and said, you know, Trump actually, you know, he threw Trump under the bus. I've got that. We'll get to that. But I'm going to enlarge this to make sure you can see it.
The stunning political scandal that is rocking Capitol Hill. Republican Congressman Mark Foley abruptly resigned Friday after questionable emails he sent to a teenage boy.
Dennis Pastor convicted of a financial crime, part of a scheme to mask something more egregious. His molestation of children.
Hush money used to pay a man who says Hastert sexually abused him when he was 14 years old.
There are now five former Ohio State wrestlers accusing Republican Congressman Jim Jordan of knowing about a teen doctor's alleged sexual misconduct.
43 men who say they were sexually assaulted, abused, molested, or harassed by Dr. Richard Strauss.
George Nader. His criminal history included multiple convictions for child pornography and child molestation.
This morning, a judge sentenced Ralph Shorty to 15 years in prison. Police caught Shorty in a hotel room with a then 17-year-old boy, Roy more defiant that more accusers stepped forward, alleging sexual misconduct.
This is the shopping mall where some say it was common knowledge and not a big secret that Roy Moore would flirt with teenage girls when he was in his 30s.
One accuser says that Moore initiated a sexual encounter back in 1979 when she was just 14 years old.
The new charges against Joel Greenberg.
Sex trafficking a minor and stalking a political opponent.
Former Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz allegedly having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl.
Investigators examining whether he quote violated federal sex trafficking laws.
By the way, Gaetz has 3 different people that have already pled guilty and have agreed to testify against him. Just throwing that out there.
Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they live in Palm Beach, but I wish her well.
And a new hashtag. So yeah, there are people watching this, and the message is getting out. I may have been the first one that said, you know, hey, this is what's happening, but others are catching on. And if you don't believe it yet, that's cool. It's early, but more things are going to come out, and as more things come out, it just means more things we're going to have to deal with. Back over here to the flight tracker real quick. Okay, the plane's flying at 26,950 feet. Where's this plane? Where's this plane flying at? No call sign either. And we have no registration. No. Zero ground speed. It's above this flight according to the radar, but what is it? No, I don't know. Okay, that's a commercial flight. This is it looks like there might even be a third plane here. Yeah, there's a third plane there underneath. No call sign. Okay, this is the plane we were tracking, 76116. Its transponder's back on. I assume it's going to this airport. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll get back to the rest of the news here. Try to get through things quickly. I've got a message from the front lines of Mariupol, and this came yesterday.
About the situation here, we still control the city.
Okay. Come on.
Just a quick message, just confirm still alive. March 22nd. Just a quick message about the situation here. We still control the city. Ukrainians are fighting hard day and night. The war is tremendously strong, and they're not going to be submitted by Russian imperialism. And my second message is about the situation here for the civilians. When we were pushed from our defensive front lines on the Donbass sector, gradually day by day we were pushed back to Mariupol. And since we've come to Mariupol, we're now on the outskirts defending it, just in the very outer districts. But since then, Russian forces have continued to target the civilian areas where we're not located. I know this firsthand because I've watched it. I've watched multiple Grad vehicles like launch their rockets into the civilian areas behind us. And this is the Russian military, so if they're as professional as they say they are, then they would know who they're targeting, which isn't us.
Okay, so he's still alive. We played Vlad earlier in the afternoon episode. If you didn't see him, go back to the early episode. He's given a dog a big part of a leftover sausage, a stray hungry dog, and was talking about how they had a day off to clean up from what they had done and rest and get ready to go back out. So we'll hear from him again in a couple of days. There are about 12,000 people, 12,000 Russian soldiers outside of Kyiv, and 3,000 of them are almost surrounded, and another 4,000 are cut off. We'll show you a map of that in just a second. This came in 4 hours ago. Russia has closed off this pipeline, and that will be impacting fuel prices, specifically in Europe. Okay. Ukraine captured part of one of Russia's most capable electronic warfare systems. This is used to I don't know the proper word. Disrupt, I guess, is how we'll say it. This is used to kind of disrupt the traffic as far as AWACS, as far as communications electronically, specifically in the air. And this is let me pull it up so you can see what it looks like. Normally on the back of a truck. This one had been unloaded. This is what it normally looks like, fully set up, and Ukrainians have indeed captured that. And let me see if I can find that confirmation real quick. Anyway, the United States has already claimed it. Here we go. The advanced Russian electronic warfare system, Krashka 4, captured on the battlefield in Ukraine, will be transported to the United States for investigation, according to the British Daily Telegraph. So that's what will happen to that's what will happen to that piece of equipment. Something else the United States can now reverse engineer and use against Russia. I'm saving this for the end. Let me see if I can I get this any bigger? No. Okay. Here we go. All right. This is proof number 3 that we've got. And this comes from Russian television. They're proud of this, of a thermobaric weapon being used. Again, thermobaric or vacuum bomb. Basically, what it does, it's like a long distance napalm weapon, jellified gasoline, and when it explodes either above or in front of the target and sucks all the oxygen in and then ignites it all on fire. And the RT you see imposed is Russian television, so. Debris still raining down. Let's hop back over real quick to flight tracker. And okay. All right, so that plane's on the ground. We've got 2 others here. Okay. That's the airport itself. And my session timed out. Okay. Let me just get back and run down the rest of this newscast as quick as possible. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for your patience as I go through this. And again, we've been talking on and off about the Senate confirmation hearing. And I've got something I want to play from that, but I've got, okay. We got some breaking news here. Multiple people shot outside a mall in Glendale, Arizona. A woman being treated by paramedics at the Banana Republic and taken by ambulance. That's according to ABC 15 out of Arizona here in the United States. And we'll go ahead and just share. Okay. Alan Dershowitz. This is what it looked like. This Grim 99, that was Air Force One while in the sky. And this just gives you an idea of the protection that was just in case something were to happen. So that was caught. They've been in Brussels about 4 hours now. That was caught 9 hours ago. Just beginning to head into Europe, head into the western part of Europe. Alan Dershowitz, a prominent Republican lawyer, said he's disappointed with his former student Ted Cruz and his questioning of Judge Jackson, and called it bigotry. This is another example of yet another war crime. I mean, all war is a crime, but Russia using weapons that have been disavowed by all international society, including phosphorus weapons. And I've got another picture of them, of this stuff on the ground, and it is indeed phosphorus material. This is the latest in what you might call underground technology. This would be called a ghost gun. This was done by a 3D printer. And of course, I would hit the wrong button. This is 3D printed weapons. It's a 66 millimeter recoilless launcher with a shoulder rest attachment, and allows it to be converted to a mortar on the go. Again, this is kind of the latest technology in underground weaponry. Just in case people were wondering if anybody other than the far right wing militia might be interested in weapons. I mean, that's just like, there is no recoil. So again, you're not going to see this on mainstream media. And thanks to Bo of the Fifth Column, a guy that's been doing what I'm doing. He's been doing it for a while. He does little short segments. A good person to follow. And here's 12 hours ago, the report I was talking about. Since March 11th, Defense Minister Shoigu and Chief of General Staff Gerasimov have disappeared from the information space. They are two of the three people who decide on the use of nuclear weapons. So hopefully they resurface. Otherwise, at the moment, it's all, and it would be anyway, but now, if those two are out of the way, there's no one really to stop him from a nuclear launch. Judge Clarence Thomas, who this picture, let me See if I can get this a little bigger. See, there we go. All right. He just looks like, you know, I'm super important and you don't mean anything. And not be, I mean, that's just the look on his face. And it's a look on a lot of Republicans' faces, especially when you try to, as far as elected officials, when you try to ask them something. And the same with a lot of Democrats too. Russia called for a United Nations meeting on Ukraine humanitarian aid. No, I'm not making that up. That's what really happened. Okay, we talked about the troops. Talked about the troops outside of Kyiv, and there were about 12,000 of them. These are two of the groups that are all but surrounded, and they're basically cut off. Just to give you an idea on the map where things are lying there, with Kyiv right over here. And got word on the ground. I don't have a post on it, but that, sorry, hang on a second. Okay. I got word on the ground that Ypres right here is about 80% under Ukrainian control once again, when about 70% was under Russian control. So again, I'm going to end with that. I just found this, you know, I've talked before about how sometimes things look like they're just right out of World War II. This is right out of World War I, which was known for trench warfare. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but an airplane just flew very, very low overhead. Very much so, so much like World War I, except for the weaponry. And sadly, of course, World War I was known for chemical warfare. I'm not going to show this, but I am going to make you aware of it. Native Russians in Mariupol making fun of dead Ukrainian soldiers after the Russian soldiers had. Okay, this is written by somebody that it hasn't translated right into English. Basically, 4 Ukrainian soldiers surrendered in Mariupol, and the Russian soldiers that they had surrendered to, they made them kneel down and they shot all 4 of them in the back of the head, Nazi SS style. I'm not going to show you that. They took off their shoes. They laid them for display in front of pro-Russian sympathizers. Again, I'm not gonna show it. But need to be aware of it. And Okay. France raised its level of nuclear alert on 3 of the 4 nuclear machine launching submarines available to the French Navy. 3 out of the 4 are now at sea. Normally, of the 4, at least 1 is always at sea. 3 of the 4 are now at sea, and they've raised their level of nuclear alert, and that comes 6 hours ago. Let's hop back over here and see if there's anything happening. Okay. Okay, this plane is just at the airport. Okay. Plane's just sitting at the airport. Which is, planes do that sometimes, but military planes at commercial airports generally don't. Okay. Said we had a picture of Air Force One leaving earlier today, and we do right here. Tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to take myself out of the screen here for just a second. And I was going to leave this to the end, but it keeps refreshing on me. So I want to make sure we get this in. Again, I talked about and I'm not deleting the things here like I normally do because it's been snagging up on me. We've talked about
service.
We've talked about the Supreme Court hearings and how so much asshattery, especially by Ted Cruz and Cotton, senators with ties to child molesters and child pornographers and pedophilia. This gave me hope.
Your family and you speak to service. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not letting anybody in the Senate steal my joy. I told you this at the beginning. I'm embarrassed. It happened earlier today. I just look at you and I start getting full of emotion. I'm jogging this morning. And I'm at the end of the block I live on. And I get tired because I put my music on loud when I'm jogging, trying to block out the noise of the heart attack I'm having. and this woman comes up on me, tackles me, an African-American woman. And the look on her eye, she just wanted to touch me because I'm sitting so close to you. And tell me what it meant to her to watch you sitting where you're sitting. And you did not get there because of some left-wing agenda? He didn't get here because of some dark money groups. You got here how every black woman in America who's gotten anywhere has done. By being like Ginger Rogers said.
Okay, my bad. Let's take this again. actually make sure I do this the right way so we do not get interrupted. My apologies. But this is worth hearing, in my opinion. And you're not going to hear all of this on any in any media, but I'm going to let you hear the whole thing here.
The percentage of minorities shift a lot. And so I'm walking here, first week I'm here, and somebody who's been here for decades doing the urgent work of the Senate, but the unglamorous work that goes on no matter who's in offices. The guy comes up to me, all he wants to say I can tell is, I'm so happy you're here. But he comes up, he can't get the words out, and this man, my elder, starts crying. And I just hugged him, and he just kept telling me, it is so good to see you here, so good to see you here, thank you. I love my brother Tim Scott. We could write a dissertation on our disagreements. He gave the best speech on race. I wish I could have given as good of a speech. But talking to the challenges and indignities that are still faced. And you're here. I was in the White House with my Democratic colleagues, and I'm in my joy. I can't help it. And the president's asking everybody, should we nominate him, whatever. And I look at Kamala, and we have a knowing glance, which we've had for years. When she and I used to sit on this end of this committee at times. And then I try to get out to the president what it means. What it means. And I want to tell you, when I look at you, this is why I get emotional. I'm sorry, you're a person that is so much more than your race and gender. You're a Christian, you're a mom, you're intellect, you love books, but for me, I'm sorry, it's hard for me not to look at you and not see my mom, not to see my cousins, one of them who had to come here and sit behind you. She had to have your back. I see my ancestors and yours. Nobody's going to steal the joy of that woman in the street, or the calls that I'm getting, or the texts. Nobody's going to steal that joy. You have earned this spot. You are worthy. You are a great American. Your hero is Constance Baker Motley. Mine sat on my desk for my offices that I've held. She's my icon of America. Her name is Harriet Tubman. There is a love in this country that is extraordinary. You admitted it about your parents. They loved this nation, even though there were laws preventing them from getting together. When they were loving, there were laws in this country that would prevent you from marrying your husband. Wasn't that long ago? It was last generation. But they didn't stop loving this country, even though this country didn't love them back. And what were the words of your heroes and mine? What did Constance Baker Motley do? Did she this country that she saw insult and injury, when she came out of law school, law firms wouldn't even hire her because she was a woman. Did she become bitter? Did she try to create a revolution? No, she used the very constitution of this nation. She loved it so much. She wanted America to be America. As Langston Hughes wrote, let America be America again. The land that never has been yet, but must be the land where everyone is free. Oh, yes, I say it in America. Never was America to me, but I swear this oath, America will be. That is the story of how you got to this desk. You and I, everyone here, generations of folk who came here and said America. I'm Irish, you may say, no, Irish or dogs need to apply, but I'm going to show this country that I can be free here. I can make this country love me as much as I love it. Chinese Americans first forced into near slave labor, building our railroads, connecting our country. Saw the ugliest of America, but they were going to build their home here and say, America, you may not love me yet, but I'm going to make this nation live up to its promise and hope. LGBTQ Americans, from Stonewall women to Seneca. hidden figures who didn't even get their play until some Hollywood movie finally talked about them and how they were critical for us defying gravity. All of these people love America. And so you face insults here that were shocking to me. Well, actually not shocking. But you are here because of that kind of love. And nobody's taking this away from me. So you got five more folk to go through. Five more of us. And then you can sit back and let us have all the debates. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a well-charted Senate floor because it's not going to stop. They're going to accuse you of this and that. Heck, in honor of your person who shares your birthday, you might be called communist. But don't worry, my sister. Don't worry. God has got you. And how do I know that? Because you're here. And I know what it's taken for you to sit in that seat. Harry Tubman is one of my heroes because the more I read about this person, the more she was viciously beaten. Her whole life she used to fall into spells, cracked skull. She faced starvation, chased by dogs. And when she got the freedom, what did she do? She rest? No, she went back. Again and again. The sky was full of stars. But she found one that was a harbinger of hope. For better days, not just for her and those people that were enslaved, but a harbinger of hope for this country. She never gave up on America. She fought led troops in the Civil War. She was involved in the suffrage movement. And as I came back from my run, after being near assaulted by someone on the street, I thought about her. And how she looked up. She kept looking up. No matter what they did to her, she never stopped looking up. And that star, it was a harbinger of hope. Today you're my star. You are my harbinger of hope. This country is getting better and better. And when that final vote happens, and you ascend onto the highest court in the land, I'm going to rejoice. And I'm going to tell you right now, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America, will be better because of you. Thank you.
In 100 years, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson will be remembered as the first Black woman Supreme Court Justice of the United States. If the world is still around, if we haven't destroyed ourselves, which, again, as I said right when I started this, it gives me hope. She's going to be remembered as the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Cotton, they're not going to be remembered for the asshats they were today, the jackassery, as my Republican friend in D.C. said in his message to me. They're not going to be remembered for those things. They're not going to be remembered at all. But forever, she is going to be the first Black woman Supreme Court Justice in the United States. So let's keep that in mind. And let's go back to the words of President Volodymyr Zelensky because tonight, every night he addresses his people. Once a night he addresses his people, and he does it, as you can see, in very public places most of the time, and very temporary situation. You can see someone obviously guarding the perimeter. I'm assuming there are guards all around off camera. And he does this, as I said, once a night for his people. But tonight he addressed all of us.
The war of Russia is not only the war against Ukraine. Its meaning is much wider. Russia started the war against freedom as it is. This is only the beginning for Russia on the Ukrainian land. Russia is trying to defeat the freedom of all people in Europe, of all the people in the world. It tries to show that only crude and cruel force matters. It tries to show that people do not matter, as well as everything else that make us people. That's the reason we all must stop Russia. The world must stop the war. I thank everyone who acts in support of Ukraine, in support of freedom, but the war continues. The acts of terror against peaceful people go on. 1 month already. That's long. It breaks my hearts of all Ukrainians, every free person on the planet. That's why I ask you to stand against the war, starting from March 24th, exactly 1 month after the Russian invasion. From this day and after them. Show your standing. Come from your offices, your homes, your schools and universities. Come in the name of peace. Come with Ukrainian symbols to support Ukraine, to support freedom, to support life. Come to your squares, your streets, make yourselves visible and heard. Say that people matter, freedom matters, peace matters, Ukraine matters. From March 24th, in downtowns of your cities, all as one together who want to stop the war.
Again, this time the president of Ukraine speaks to the world. Starting tomorrow, the 24th of March, he has asked people around the world to come out to show Ukrainian colors, to show the world that there are more of us than there are of them. Now, at the moment, if you ask people who's the leader of the free world, a lot of people are going to say this man right here. Okay? Joe Biden has a chance to make a statement. And people are going to, I know I'm going to catch heat over this. I know people are going to say that's just stupid. But Joe Biden needs to take Air Force One, some B-52s, some F-16s, and just fly into Kyiv. While I'm over there, let's just show the world what the leader of the free world really is all about. Let's show the power and the might of the United States of America very symbolically. Not firing a shot unless fired upon, not dropping a bomb unless provoked, but just showing that, look, I'm the president of the United States. I can go anywhere I want, whenever I want, because of freedom. That's not going to happen, and it's probably best that it doesn't happen for safety concerns. But you know, we're awfully concerned about our safeties, and the person that is in opposition to us, early at the moment, the president of Russia, he wants us scared for our safeties. I want to point this out. Ted Cruz is jealous. He wanted a big deal, though he could be president, thought he could be president. He failed and now wishes he could have been on the Supreme Court instead. I mentioned this last night. A lot of people want to be a big deal, and the bigger deal they want to make themselves out to be, the bigger target they become. The president of the United States, the biggest target there is. Flying into Kyiv would be dangerous. And but yet, what a statement it would make to the rest of the world. Here it is. This is Air Force One. Here's what it looked like flying into Europe. Okay. Put a few more planes around here. Put a few more planes around here. You've got Patriot missile system set up in a defensive position. Set it up in an offensive position on the border. Make sure you got plenty of planes overhead. Show them what a no-fly zone would look like. Just something to think about. Again, I know it's not going to happen, and it's probably a good thing. But nonetheless, the person sitting in Russia would have to be taken aback by such an action from someone he deems as weak, in my opinion. And I'm just looking at this as a geopolitical an analyst would. I want to make sure that I've got, because I thought there was one other thing or two other. Oh, I know of at least one other thing I want to share with you. And this man who pled guilty to the plot to kidnap the Michigan Governor Whitmer testifies the goal was to disrupt and prevent Biden election win. So there's going to be a tie-in there to the giant conspiracy and a situation where Trump might find himself on the bad end, depending upon how the Oath Keepers and the 3%ers and the other militias, how they testify and who they turn against, because they've already had people turn against them. I told you we were listening in as Air Force One took off. Here's what it sounded like.
Good morning, Air Force One's with you, 1000, climbing 3000. Air Force One coming to radar contact, 1000, Air Force One. Air Force One, clear paleo, Air Force One. Air Force One, contact coming pressure, 1 at 24.55, Air Force One.
So, Air Force One's departure from Andrews Air Force Base. Yeah, we keep an eye on a lot of things. A lot of people keep an eye on a lot of different things in the open source intelligence community. And what we've done basically is probably multiplied traditional intelligence by 5 to 10%, which is, a significant when you're trying to find out information, and when information is power, and never more so than when it's on the battlefield. This is I apologize. I know you're going to say, oh yeah, blame it on the computer, but it really is. It's an old computer, and the keys stick, and if I touch it wrong, it just automatically refreshes. That's why I keep taking stuff out of my bookmarks here so if it refreshes, we don't have as much to go through. Thanks for your patience with all this. Again, this is obviously news done differently, obviously without the frills and without the commercials. Okay, I want to share this. Okay. U.S. President Biden is to make a surprise visit to the border of Poland and Ukraine in the next 24 hours as he arrives to Europe to meet NATO leaders. That's part of the reason that was leaked about 7 hours ago. So it's not like I'm letting something out that has just been released and there haven't been time for people to react to that information. It's not a security violation, is what I'm saying. But nonetheless, that's part of the reason I'm saying instead of just going to the border, go in, fly in there, shake hands, tell the Ukrainian people, we're with you. We're with you. And I've talked a lot about anonymous and about security, cybersecurity, and about possible cyber attacks. And I want to make sure you can read this along with me, because this is a real good brief explanation for why we are vulnerable. Okay. It is a lot easier to attack a computer, website, etc., than it is to defend against it. Why? Not all comprehensive answer is because most things a computer does is get info from other computers, typically on the internet. For example, okay. Thank you again for your patience. And somebody just sent me some positive vibes because I was really getting ready to get frustrated. For example, your phone or laptop has no idea what your bank account balance is or to play the latest Taylor Swift song. Your phone, laptop, etc. has to ask other computers for that info, which means a lot of devices talk to each other freely. So one avenue of attack is to interrupt that discussion. Imagine your laptop is talking to your bank about your account balance, and suddenly, every second, tens of thousands of other computers are yelling at your phone, trying to start a conversation. Just processing all the conversation requests will overwhelm your laptop, which will cause it to freeze. That's a denial of service attack. One more attack to talk about is ransomware, typically asking someone to click on something they shouldn't. Ransomware tries to get someone to open a file or to go to a website that takes control of a computer. Once in, the attacker can make files unreadable without a password, which is called encryption, and the attacker will then ask for money to unlock the files. So why is it easier to attack rather than defend? Because devices already are open to talking to one another computer by default. Attackers disguise bad conversations as good ones, and defenders are constantly looking for new exploits. Also, attacking pays. Many people pay the ransomware just to get their files back. Defense doesn't directly pay you. It just stops attackers. So often, companies don't invest as much as they should, as there isn't a direct return on their investments. It's a tomorrow problem. And I wrote back, thank you for this thread. I'm reading it in tonight's 10 p.m. news report, which I just did. So I just thought that might be some information that some of you might find helpful in kind of explaining it in layman's terms as to what and why we have computer vulnerabilities. And again, sad, meaningless, senseless death. This is the Prime Minister of Britain. And
children are huddled in basements across Ukraine.
I don't know. I don't have any explanation for this. I just think that it shows how the people in power don't take much of anything too seriously unless it's happening to them.
Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, men, women, and children are huddled in basements across Ukraine seeking protection. Soldiers and citizens alike have taken up arms to defend their land and families. Mr. Speaker, as I stand here, men, women, and children are huddled in basements across Ukraine seeking protection. Soldiers and citizens alike have taken up arms to defend their land and families.
By the way, Ted Cruz, we'll have video of this tomorrow. During the hearing, when he was being an asshat, as soon as he was done, he immediately picked up the phone and started checking to see what kind of response he was getting on the internet. Just a couple of more stories to read here. Russian friends told me that Russians with IT and engineering degrees who have left Russia for Finland and Estonia that just in the past weeks, they're getting threatening phone calls from Russia police telling them something, quote, may happen to their parents and siblings if they don't return. Again, IT people, cyber attacks, anonymous doing great work keeping the Russian not only government questioning what's going on, but industries that have refused to leave Russia and are still contributing through the tax system to what Russia's doing to Ukraine and basically holding a knife to the rest of the world. Alex Jones sent a lawyer with a dodgy doctor's note saying he could not leave the house for a deposition in the Sandy Hook family's defamation suit. And the judge caught him hosting InfoWars at his non-home studio during the hearing. So I imagine at least a contempt of court charge will come along with depending on how much he will be fined for defamation. In case you don't understand what's going on here, Alex Jones is, he basically said that Sandy Hook was staged, that no kids were killed, that it was all about trying to take people's guns, which has been going on for decades, and people with little bitty gray matter up here don't understand. It's never happened. It's never going to happen unless you're a felon. Okay. It'll happen to an individual that screws up, but rounding up everybody with guns, do the freaking math if you can't do the logic. Anyway, he's so he's such a callous piece of shit that he said these mothers were lying about losing their kids in Sandy Hook, and they didn't take it lightly, nor should they. And I had somebody not long ago say, well, I heard this on Alex Jones, and I just about totally cut him out of my life. I have all but cut him out of my life, actually, because I'm sorry, I got no time for that. And if you want to believe that stuff, that's on you, not on me. And I will not in any way foster anything as far as saying it was truthful coming from Alex Jones. This is something that is going to be a problem because we have such a short attention span. Many people in not only our country, but especially the United States. And people are starting to lose interest in what's going on in Ukraine, according to metrics. And NATO is supplying Ukraine with equipment against chemical and nuclear weapons. And just one more little quick video from showed a couple last night, and the ones we showed last night, I'll go ahead and show them again since I've already gone this long, and I'll go ahead and show them again here before we close. These are the people I'm going to. This is a minister of parliament. This is one of Russia's congressmen, if you will. I didn't. Okay. Okay.
Если контингент НАТО, то, соответственно, он должен быть уничтожен по нашим сегодняшним правилам спецоперации. Поэтому надо что сказать. Ребят, не миротворцы, не надо нам маски пудрить. Это власть контингент НАТО. И если вы постараетесь все вместе, мы нанесем ядерный удар по Варшаве. Вот это будет правильно. Не миротворцы. Это уже контингент.
Okay, I'm going to replay it again. And you can read in the red. You can read in the red along here the translation. I just wanted to, tell this Russian guy, in case he happens to be listening, that the NATO forces coming in there are not war forces. They're on a special operation. Okay, so they have nothing to worry about over there in Russia. When these troops roll in, special operation only, okay?
Это тоже надо понимать. Не миротворцы. Контингент НАТО собирается, так сказать, по решению Польши быть введен на территорию, так сказать, Украины. А если контингент НАТО, то, соответственно, он должен быть уничтожен по нашим сегодняшним правилам спецоперации. Поэтому надо что сказать. Ребят, не миротворцы, не надо нам маски пудрить. Это власть контингент НАТО. И если вы постараетесь все вместе, мы нанесем ядерный удар по Варшаве. Вот это будет правильно. Не миротворцы. Это уже контингент НАТО. И это тоже надо понимать. Не миротворцы. Контингент НАТО собирается, так сказать, по решению Польши быть введен на территорию, так сказать, Украины. А если контингент НАТО, то, соответственно, он должен быть уничтожен по нашим сегодняшним правилам спецоперации. Поэтому надо что сказать. Ребят, не миротворцы, не надо нам маски пудрить. Это власть контингент НАТО. И если вы постараетесь все вместе, мы нанесем ядерный удар по Варшаве.
So they're basically saying they're going to drop a nuclear bomb on Warsaw if NATO forces come in to Ukraine, which, why? Ukraine is a sovereign country. If Ukraine invites us in, we should be able to come in there without you threatening. That's what I'm saying. These people aren't going to understand. They aren't going to respect negotiations. And tomorrow is going to be a critical day because tomorrow is when the summit begins. The NATO summit with basically the leaders of 30 different countries, presidents and prime ministers. And I don't want to show that at all because that person hit me with a copyright and won't let my video back up. I admired their work and shared it, and they didn't like that. Okay. I talked about Mo Brooks, the Republican congressman, and I read earlier today this part. President Trump asked me to rescind the 2020 elections, immediately remove Joe Biden, immediately put Trump back in, and hold a special election. He's actually thrown Trump under the bus more than once. It's disappointing that President Trump let Mitch McConnell manipulate him again. Not changed. I'm the only proven America First candidate. I repeat what has prompted Trump's ire. The only way, because Trump has said he's, I'm not going to endorse this guy. I just, he's not the guy I thought he was. I thought he was a good guy. Trump's time is limited. Now that doesn't mean anything because we've seen the hate on full display of a lot of the rest of the Republican Party, but we can hope decent Republicans join in and make sure that wing of the Republican Party is eliminated as soon as possible. And again, this talked about this earlier. Somebody said something about last night. I had one bolt action rifle. Now these are troops. These are troops that are they're not on the front line. Okay, they're not going to be carrying a rifle like this into frontline battle. These are the troops that are suppressing people. All right, we saw one with a little snub nose machine gun earlier, but so just to make that clear, Russian Minister of Defense spokesperson denies that any Russian military vehicles have been captured by Ukraine farmers, and he's saying that this, the picture behind him is fake news. For real, that was a legitimate picture there. Okay, let me see, make sure I didn't skip over something. Up to 40,000 Russian soldiers have been killed in action, they're missing in action, or they've been wounded in action, or detained as POW per NATO intelligence. So 40,000, they started out with 190,000 troops roughly. And according to what we've gathered, this is NATO's intelligence. It's probably higher than that. It's probably closer to 50 or 60. And, we've been telling you all along the numbers you're going to be getting from these organizations aren't going to be accurate because they're going to take a while to get there. And by the time they've gotten there, they're going to have changed. I'm going to show you what Russia is hearing on TV. I want to show you this first. That just looks like something out of Star Wars. And it is a German Panzerfaust 331T anti-tank weapon. Systems can reputedly kill any Russian tank. So this can't be geolocated, and plus I held it out for a while. But for those of you that are into weapons, there's something to look at. Now, and I played these last night. I was going to start out with them tonight, but obviously things changed. Let me do it this way. And again, this is this is like Rush Limbaugh was, like Tucker Carlson, what's his name? Bannon. And that's all that a lot of Russia is getting. They're just getting their 3 Russian channels. So just to make clear again, like we did last night, the things we're going to hear in these next 2 video clips are things Russia is hearing almost constantly. Occasionally, Tucker Carlson comes on there and talks to them and gives them hope. But otherwise, they're hearing Russian commentators. And this is one sample, and then I've got a compilation. This is one conversation.
Вы получите ядерный удар по февраля. В случае, если вы соберетесь какой-нибудь миротворческий надо создать. В случае, если вы соберетесь куда-то там вводить и прочее, да, это будет ядерная война. Вы должны это понимать. Значит, храбрые поляки от вашей Варшавы не останется за полсекунды ничего. Храбрые немцы, так сказать, да, храбрые эстонцы, храбрые прибалты, кстати, по поводу храбрых прибалтов. Вот в Калининграде, я знаю, сейчас большие проблемы на границе. Может быть, актуальным становится вопрос коридора до Калининграда. Коридор, запутал коридоры до Калининграда. А почему если Приднестровье? Мне кажется, что название Литва и название Польши ведут себя слишком нагло. Слишком нагло. И не понимаю еще, да, что вот на самом деле с ними можно разобраться быстрее, чем с Украиной. Потому что вопрос коридора и вопрос локальной военной операции это гораздо проще, чем все то, что мы сейчас затеяли на Украине.
That's part 1. Part of that is in this second clip that we're going to get to. Oh, wait a minute. Just so that we don't get stopped midway through it. Coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I was trying to do a short episode, but just so much happening, too much happening, and again, this is okay. We just saw this guy in the first clip, and we'll see one of the other guys in the first clip. This guy's probably like Tucker Carlson.
На Украине подумайте 300 раз. Напомню вам, что Украина – это всего лишь промежуточный этап в обеспечении стратегической безопасности Российской Федерации.
У нас кончится терпение, мы просто запустим что-нибудь тяжелое в сторону Вашингтона и Лондона.
Польша доиграется. Было 3 раздела Польши. 4-й будет последний.
Граница России нигде не заканчивается.
Придет время, и Польше ничего не останется. И от Прибалтики. Мне кажется, что названием...
Well, why did that happen? Let's do that again here. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, that might have got next up, might have pulled that. Because that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, let's try this again. See if we can bump up here a little bit since, okay, that's close enough.
Слишком нагло. И не понимают еще, так сказать, да, что вот на самом деле с ними можно разобраться быстрее, чем с Украиной.
Пускай кричат, да, это бомбардировщики, которые способны нести ядерное оружие, но у нас нет другого выхода.
Наши подлодки способны выпустить более 500 ядерных боеголовок, что гарантированно уничтожают США и все страны НАТО в придачу. Это по принципу «Зачем нам мир, если в нем не будет России?» Сейчас вся российская триада переведена в особый режим боевого дежурства.
Если мы снова нашу армию подведем к западным границам, они трусливые, они боятся, их нужно брать испугом, кнутом.
You know, you have to wonder, are they so detached from reality that they believe all of their own propaganda? Because that's where the QAnon people are here in the United States. But, generally a lot more gullible over here. I don't know. The thing that concerns me the most is this guy right here. Okay. Because all the others are, this guy's talking real calm. Okay, this guy's like doing this is the news. This is what's going to happen.
Способны выпустить более полутысячи ядерных боеголовок, что гарантированно уничтожают США и все страны НАТО в придачу. Это по принципу «Зачем нам мир, если в нем не будет России?»
Why do we need the world if there's no Russia in it? How about let's try the world with no Russia in it? How about the rest of the world decides, you're right, we don't need Russia in the world?
Сейчас вся российская триада переведена в особый режим боевого дежурства.
Okay, this again, it's concerning because this guy's not all. This guy's given a calm, matter of fact, this follows our principles. We might have to make a big sacrifice in that, if push comes to shove, we're going to try to destroy not only Russia, but the whole world. That's what he's saying.
Принципу «Зачем нам мир, если в нем не будет России?» Сейчас вся российская триада.
The entire Russian triad has been transferred. Chemical, nuclear, biological,
Введена в особый режим
to a special mode of combat duty. We've removed 2 of the 3 people that are responsible for making those decisions, so it just falls on one person and his whim.
боевого дежурства.
Again, this guy's up. I'm generally not scared of somebody that's yelling at me and doing all those things to me. While they're yelling and doing all those things, I'm generally thinking about what I plan to do to them if it's necessary, and I'm not saying a word. So these guys,
Западная граница, они трусливые, они боятся, их нужно брать испугом, кнутом.
Мы ни в коем случае не можем остановиться на полпути.
С такими санкциями, кто сказал, что надо останавливаться вообще в границах Украины?
Например, может выглядеть сценарий по, собственно, захвату Прибалтики.
Да и Россия – единственная страна в мире, которая реально способна превратить США в радиоактивный пепел.
So that's just reminding you again what they're capable of. They are capable of nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. All 3 of the big triad of weapons of mass destruction. How capable are their missiles of flying? I think they've been neglected. I think the only chance they may have is to blow them up in their silos, as was threatened. And I think I think maybe we've got some pretty good missile systems as far as defensive missile systems. And maybe we've got some stuff that nobody even knows about yet. And, you know, I've played some poker in my days, and there's a time where you have to call somebody's bluff or you lose when you could have won. We may be reaching that time where it's time to call the bluff. If not, we let them act first. Things that are beyond us, as far as just, you know, nobodies, because that's, you know, if you don't have a golden ticket into one of the underground bunkers, then basically you're a nobody. You're not worth saving. And if you're not worth saving, the only thing you're really worth is paying taxes and being coerced or propagandized or willingly voting for somebody. And we still do have that. For how much longer, that depends on what happens over the next 4 to 6 months. We're approaching another election, and we're also approaching a possible third world war. And we're also seeing a lot of Republicans trying to provoke a race war. And I hope that is, I hope that cooler heads prevail on all of those matters. But it just sometimes, friends, sometimes it feels like just everything's going so fast, and that it's just we're going in this direction and we can't do anything about it, and something's ahead, and we can't stop it. We just have to try to survive it. And I'm about ready to wholeheartedly start saying, screw this, screw those loudmouth bullying people we just saw. Let's find out who they are, and let's bring them down. Let's bring them down, and then we deal with the bad guys that are here, and we bring them down, and we start making a better world by starting to make a better country and starting to be better people. Otherwise, I think we're heading for a bad place. And with that, thank you all for watching. Thank you for sticking around as long as you have here. And thank you for your comments in the chats. Thank you for the likes, the shares, if you want to contribute to help support the show, Cashapp, $ americandufus, AMERICANDUFUS, all one word. Contact me by email at Gmail, americandufus@gmail.com. And it's a dark world. And from one day to the next, over the next several days, especially with the NATO summit coming up, possible target, a large target of interest to not only Russia, but to many potential nefarious actors, including North Korea. The next few days are going to be critical. And I hope that what we have here doesn't end. I hope this isn't the last time that we're signing off, that we can continue to do this. But at any time, the power can go, the button can get pushed, the bad actors can do bad things. So while we are free as Americans to bitch and moan, and we do our share of it, Me as much as anybody, probably. Let's not ever forget how good we really do have it here compared to many, if not most places in the rest of the world. We're blessed. May God continue to have mercy on the United States of America. May he show mercy to the world. May he defeat evil. And may we do our part. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Peace. This has been News Done Differently. We'll be back tomorrow.